Right, what's important once you've learned the basic foundation of how to operate and how to train is that you get out of sterile training very quickly. So sterile training is pad work where you're relatively static and you know what you're doing and your feeder knows what you're doing. This is for tool development. It's important that once you have your skills mapped in, which doesn't take long if they're gross motor in nature, that you add aliveness and freedom to your training. Okay? This is where spontaneity comes in. So if you think about a counter-offense dynamic, where we're training to deal with something that's already being done to us, which of course is never the ideal. So what might be the idea of that? The idea might be that you were slightly fixated on something and all of a sudden somebody's grabbed you. Or somebody's grabbed you and is now punching you. And it was unexpected, there was no intel. Understand that there'll be shock attached to that. You get a flood of adrenaline. And in that moment, if you can get some framework up to protect your head in that moment so that you don't get initially knocked out, understand that as soon as you're forced to cover from an assault, in that moment you're frozen. Your pattern interrupted. There's only one way to break freeze, and that's to immediately return and become assaultive. So I'm going to give Craig a variety of things to do, and then I'm going to randomly mix them up. Try and bring in that idea rather than look and hit. You see it, see it in your periphery as soon as you see it. Here. Right, and now the stimuli to the front. So you're just going to go palm again. So here. And if you're going to attachment. That's it, good. Right, somewhere in the mix I'm going to throw that. So all I'm doing is giving him some stimuli from arm's length, then closer range. So he's recognising where concussive strikes belong, or when tissue trauma inducing movements belong with ballistic manipulation. Range will dictate. Primary tools, maybe secondary tools. He's also getting the target from the front close or longer range, and somewhere inside of that mix, I'm throwing a shot. The second that we're engaged in the flow, maybe I shift levels and I tackle to take him down, in which case he would be required to sprawl. Yeah, you need to sprawl. So adding something that's going to force him to respond inside of a proactive dynamic. So striking, proactive, 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 boom, now he's got to react. Same that could add the tackle to it. If you add spontaneity in this way, then you're teaching the student how to go from proactive, offensive to counter-offensive.